Hello team and welcome to day 5 of the Content Mojo challenge. So we're actually rapidly now descending towards the end of the first week, being today is Wednesday in Australia. I know it's Tuesday night in the US of A, and a very important day there for you guys with your election. I haven't even really caught up on what's going on with that yet. Sorry about the late start for today's call. I had a 7:30 call I couldn't get out of, and that only just finished a couple of minutes ago. So here we are today, and of course you're all rapidly writing your blog posts. I haven't seen any updates today. I have looked on Facebook, so not sure why you haven't put your stuff in. I'll put mine in a minute because I haven't put mine in either. And I am today up to, actually I think as of the end of yesterday, I was well into the 200 words. So instead of 100 odd, I'm well into the 200 odd. So I'm going to need to really burn some midnight oil or get up a little bit earlier or whatever to fit that in my currently incredibly busy days. And I'm sure you're having very busy days too. But the reason we're doing this challenge is that blog post writing is one way that you can be growing your business, and if you're doing this challenge you understand how important it is and how it is actually a really valuable way to do it as well, because it builds the foundation of your business, or the foundation being your website, and it builds your website up in the right way. And once you've done it, well, it actually is going to be there forever, just like the foundation of a house. Well, until for years anyway, for a long time. So the foundation will be there for a long time. So the work that you do now will actually grow your business into the future as well, not just over the next few months. So if you continue to do this challenge every month, so write a great blog post at least every month, and then spend the time to create some images and some other repurposed content out of that blog post that all points back to your website, you're going to be a long way ahead of almost everyone else online, because they're not being consistent with these things, and that's what we have to be. And that's why I'm pushing through, even though this particular week, as you already know, has been quite manic for me and a bit crazy. But I am endeavouring to get my 1,500 words out, and I will. By the end of the week, I will have written 1,500 words, and I will post it. Now, many of you have actually written quite a few words already, because you've done the challenge before and you're all well aware of what I was going to ask you to do, and you jumped the gun and got going, which is great. So at this time, what I wanted to talk to you about today in particular is the image that will go with your blog post. So when you put a blog post on your website, you're not just going to have a whole bunch of text and nothing else, so no context around it for the people, because not everybody is a big reader. In saying that, you're writing long posts, so you want people to come and read your long post, but you need to find ways to break it up, and you need to find ways to attract people and to keep their attention, especially when they first get there. Just like the heading, we need to find ways to get people to sort of not drag them through the content, but to easily guide them through your blog post. Now, to begin with, as I said, it's the image that sits on the top of your blog post. It's often called a feature image if you're using WordPress. So it's the main image that sits at the top. Now that image will also be, when you share that blog post around the web, that image will be what people will see when your blog post is shared around the web, and especially in social media. It's that feature image that people will see and that will attract their attention. So creating a feature image that pops and goes, "Hey, look at me," is a really important thing to do if you want to attract people. Also, having the words, the actual heading of your blog in the feature image is also a great idea, because again, a lot of people will see the image and they'll see the words, and that will be what makes them click on it and then land on your website to read your blog post, which is ultimately what you want them to do. So I want you to think a bit about the image if you haven't already. In the Resource Centre, there is a small video on how to use a service online, which is, you only need the free version, which is called Canva. And Canva, C-A-N-V-A, is really, really handy, because it includes all of the dimensions and the sizes for all the social medias, including they've got some blog post dimensions in there as well. So the size that's sort of typical for a blog post. So you can go in there, get that up. They give you a whole bunch of ideas which you can use, free and paid ideas. And they also give you a whole bunch of images you can use, a whole bunch of text. You can put your own images in there. So I would suggest that you go and choose one of the formats that they suggest. A free one's fine. And then with that, you then perhaps upload one of your own images or go and choose one of their free ones, or you can go to some of the other websites which are mentioned in the resource centre on Mission Mojo, which can give you a whole bunch of free images. So we're looking for a kind of image that will pop, and you want that to sit up there. And I would suggest, you don't have to, but I would suggest putting the title of your blog post into the image. Okay, so go have fun with it too. Don't get too dragged down with it. Now, you could also create a couple of images or source some images that go into your blog post, because that will also break up your blog post. So that's what I wanted to talk to you today, not just about images, but also about breaking up your blog post so that it's not one big chunk of text. We all know how hard that is to read. We like to see things like lists, like bullet points, like you can actually pull out if you know, we're trying to be professional people. We're all running businesses and we want people to treat us as if we're our professional businesses. So when you read things that have been prepared professionally on the web, you'll often see where they pull out little quotes. So a quote from the text that's actually in the piece of writing that you're reading, and that's what attracts you to read that next part. So you can pull out a little quote from a bit of text, and you can put that, sort of break up, you know, where it feels right to break it up, not just in the middle of a sentence, of course, but where it naturally would work to break up the text. Grab a quote from the next little bit that kind of works, that's a bit, again, like the images, that makes people go, oh, that's interesting. What does she mean by that? Or what do they, you know, what is that? I want to know more about it. And put it in little quotes, a little bit of air or space around it. And suddenly when people are sort of skimming your blog post, they see the images, oh, they're sort of attractive. And then they'll also see these little quotes and they'll go, oh, and then they may have skipped right down to the quote that's fascinated them, and then they've read the rest of it. So using techniques like that, so your lists and numbered lists, as well as bullet points, as well as images, as well as pulling out little quotes, all of these things are great techniques for breaking up your text so that it makes it much easier for people to read. So although the likelihood of people, and I don't want to break your heart, but the likelihood of people reading the entire thing, the percentages are quite low, unfortunately. However, there are percentages of people who skim is actually quite high. So if you give people that ability to come to grab the information that they need, because we're all so busy, as you know, but if they can grab the information that they need and get the bare bones of what it is you're trying to tell them just by skimming, and you're not going to be able to do that by just having blocks and blocks of text. If you can break it up into bullet points, images, quotes, things like that as well, to break up your little paragraphs of text, you'll find you'll have a lot more engagement. So people will actually be able to do the skimming and still get enough of the context you're trying to get across. And then those are the people who are really into whatever you're writing will actually go back to the start and then we'll read the whole thing. So you would know yourself when you get really wrapped up in a particular topic, you want to take in all information that you can get on it. So by providing the ability for people to skim it in a positive way where they can get some information and see that this is worthwhile, worth spending, actually 10 minutes to read it, if they can skim it in 1 minute and then go, oh, actually, yeah, they've got some great content here, they'll go back to the start and read from the top to the bottom. And ultimately, that's what you do want them to do. Not that everybody will, as I said. In fact, most people won't. But don't let that put you off. If you do a good job of breaking up that text, then you'll still get the same result with people shooting out the bottom and doing whatever it is your call to action is. Is it sign up for my newsletter or buy my service or come and buy this product, etc., etc. So that's sort of something I would like you to think about. When it comes to images, I had a conversation with Frankie yesterday, and she was saying, and this will apply next week, and I might even, I'm going to do a webinar for you so that I can actually show you how to outsource your images. So not everybody is as excited as I am about creating images. Well, actually, I'd probably argue about that. I think a lot of people actually enjoy it, but they don't feel that the results that they get are the ones that they want to put on their website. So my mother is an artist, okay? So I probably channel her, and having grown up with an artist, the idea that anybody would think, whenever anyone says that they're not creative, I just go, we're all creative. It's just that you haven't tapped into the thing that makes you feel, that creative spirit or whatever. So I believe we are all creative. I believe you can all do it. You can all create great images. But if it really stresses you out and you think that the product that you end up creating isn't what you want to put on your website, then there are other options. Okay, so what you can do is go and find a whole bunch of images or ideas that do actually say what you want. And how can you do that? Well, you can go to Google Images. This is what I tend to do all the time. If I'm looking for new ideas, I'll pop over to Google and I'll put in the ideas that I'm thinking of. And then I will click, instead of just the normal Google search, I will click image. So say I'm looking for an idea for a logo for a client, then I can put in whatever, maybe they make pizzas, and then I can type in logo. And then I can click in the image search in Google, and it'll give me all of these interesting ideas and things that people have done for pizza logos, pizza company logos and things like that. So you can do the same. So obviously you're not necessarily looking for logos, but you can put in whatever topic it is that your blog post is about, and then click the images instead, and then play with the search terms you're using a little and see what you can get to pop up, because you might get some great ideas. So I'm not suggesting that you use somebody else's ideas. It's a little bit like the suggestion of the looking for the best heading in the supermarket by using the magazines. Here, what I'm suggesting is that you use what's already out there on the web to get some great ideas. And those ideas might be something you can apply to yourself, creating an image, or you can take those ideas and you can go over to somewhere like Fiverr, where it'll cost you $5 or $6, and get someone else to create your images for you for your blog post. These are people who do it all the time. So I will do a webinar next week on that, because next week's all about images. So, however, then leading up to that, you might want to do that and have a practice for your blog post. So if you're uncomfortable with creating images, or maybe even if you're a little busy and you want to give that job off to somebody else, it would be a great use of your time to actually outsource it, because outsourcing is a technique that you are going to have to become very comfortable with over time, because if you do everything in your business, you won't have time to actually do your business. Okay, so, or you're not doing any marketing, so you have to have a team. In the end, you have to start working with other people in some way, and going to places like Fiverr is a simple way to get started, outsourcing some of the tasks that you don't need to be doing, and that will take you a lot of time. So things like writing a blog post, though, they tend to be things that you should probably do. Again, you can outsource it if you've done enough research into the sort of post that you want doing. Again, we can talk about that. It's a sort of a high level blogging technique when we bring in other people, because you have to be able to communicate with them exactly what you want, and it can be a bit of a minefield, and it can be very expensive for quality work. But with the images, they're a dime a dozen, so you should be able to get some good stuff out of someone in Fiverr, as long as you've been able to tell them very specifically what you want. And that's why finding examples is a great idea, and telling them what you like and what you don't like about your particular examples. All right, I don't have anyone on here, so I'm live to myself, but this will go up, and you, whoever's watching it will be able to watch it, of course. So there will be no questions at this minute in time, and I don't think there was any questions on the Facebook group. So you're all doing so brilliantly. You don't need to ask me any questions. So that's great. I will put up a webinar. I will go into my diary. I will work out the day next week to do the webinar, probably earlier in the week, so that you can make the most of it. Maybe even on the weekend, actually. Anyway, so hopefully a few of you can attend the webinar. It will be recorded anyway, but if you can attend it, that would be great, because if you've got questions, it's always easier for me to talk when I know people are there than just talking to the screen, because I kind of feel, I don't know, like talking to an empty room. It's strange. Anyway, I'll do that. So keep a lookout for that. I'll send an email and I'll put it in the group too. Any questions? Shoot over to the group and let me know. All right. Take care. Keep writing. You're obviously doing fantastically, all of you. And I will talk to you tomorrow at the normal time tomorrow, but Friday is a different time again. So today was later. Tomorrow will be normal. Friday will be earlier because I've got something else on Friday, another meeting on Friday. So, but that's cool. Anyway, all right. Love you all. Take care. Ciao.